The year is 1985. It's summer and you just got back from the arcade. Now, you're on your way to go roller skating, but before kneeling down to lace up those skates, you reach into the cabinet and grab a bag of classic Lay's chips.
So what happened?
In this video, we're going to design like they did back in the 80s. But first, let's talk about what made the 80s the 80s. We have to go back to one particular design group. They called themselves the Memphis Group. This was a handful of designers that were around the world, and they got together to mainly make furniture. But while they were making these crazy 80s designs that no one had ever seen before, they were heavily influencing the rest of the world. Today, when Apple does something, everybody else tends to follow. Back in the 1980s, it was the Memphis Group. But the funny thing is, most people don't even know anything about them. They were pioneers in the design space, and they came up with all these crazy, funky geometric patterns and shapes and colors and stuff, and it was super cool. Neon and vibrant colors were iconic in the 1980s, and the Memphis Group used bold color schemes including hot pink, cyan, electric blue, and vibrant purple. They used abstract, asymmetrical shapes and funky geometric patterns in their furniture and designs. They started in 1981 and they ran all the way until 1987. When the stock market crashed, they crashed, and so did the 80s. Now, before my channel crashes, it would mean a lot if you hit the subscribe button right now. I'm currently at 448 subscribers, and you could be the 449th. Now let's get back to fonts. The 80s saw a rise of techie fonts, scripted fonts, blocky fonts, pixelated fonts. One in particular was ITC Bengat, which was on the Choose Your Own Adventure book, on the Smiths 1987 album, and it was the FBI piracy warning on all of those old VHS tapes. But today, it's probably most recognizable as the Stranger Things intro. Fonts like this one is part of why the 80s were so nostalgic and so memorable, but they weren't the only thing. The 80s was a time of technological constraint. They didn't have much. They used stuff like typesetting and special paper and rulers and tracing. I'm talking serious printing press vibes. The Mac coming out in 1984 was game-changing. Then they had softwares like Adobe PageMaker and eventually Adobe Illustrator come out. Interesting, Adobe Photoshop didn't even come out until 1990s. And what's even crazier is the internet wasn't really accessible to people until 1993. So most of the 80s graphic design was made for print material. I'm talking posters and booklets and catalogs and all that type of stuff, and those were hung up at arcades and local hangout spots. Now, speaking of arcades, the 80s were the golden age of arcade gaming. Pac-Man and Dig Dug and all of your favorites were at the local arcade, and these machines really heavily influenced how people were made to design. Everything was made in 8-bit or 16-bit, and this constraint led to a lot of innovation in graphic design. One of the most influential games of this period was Super Mario Bros., which was released in 1985 and is still one of the best-selling games of all time. So now that we understand the 80s aesthetic, let's bring it back. Meet Adobe Illustrator 1. I'm just kidding. We are not going to use Adobe Illustrator 1, but maybe that's a different video. We are going to use the latest Adobe to design a poster like they did in the 80s for the most iconic game of all time, Super Mario Bros. I made a mood board or a vision board of like 80s stuff and Mario stuff combined to give a little inspiration. Over here we've got the Memphis Group stuff. So this is their actual like furniture and stuff and exhibit that they pulled together. I've got some of the Mario stuff here. So this was the packaging for the game. I've got this Mario sprite here, which I definitely want to use. I think that would be really cool. This is more of the Memphis Group. Here's another like example of the game. Here's just a ton of sprites from the game itself, which I think are pretty fun, and I vectorized them. This is just like random, like you type in 80s aesthetic in Google and I found this, which I thought is pretty cool wallpaper. Good example of the shapes. This is the MTV pattern, which again was heavily influenced by the Memphis Group, and just more sort of like Mario packaging. And here's the game itself. I really like how the Super Mario Bros is in this box. I think that's cool. And like the colors are so strange. It's so crazy, but that's the whole point. Like especially this and this being the same era is wild. So let's get started and make a poster. First thing I'm going to do is change the background. I know there's an official way to change the background in Illustrator, but I just put a box. These posters are cool, but I think like I want to merge these contrasting styles. So you've got the game itself and the pixel art and the really cool style of the 80s. So I think it'd be cool to recreate a new poster that's kind of got more of that Memphis Group 80s geometric colors and stuff. So I'm gonna pull one of these colors for the background of our poster. That's cool. I'm gonna go with this. That's a nice like electric blue. I really like this sort of like pixel art pattern. Obviously the 80s were like pattern on top of pattern. Like you see these dots with the squiggly lines, with the triangles, it's just tons of patterns on top of each other. And I like the texture of that. And I know that in Illustrator, there's some sort of effect. This one, yeah, mosaic tiles. That like looks exactly like that to me. We're going to use the ITC bend gap font because I think it's super cool. Like why not use it? This was a very like impact font. It was cool, but again, I want to merge the like really crazy abstract 80s styles with the retro gaming pixel art. Let's do Super Mario Bros. Make that big. Maybe we put it on 3 lines. Yeah, this is looking cool already. Let's go ahead and create outlines. Click. And let's see if we can mess around a little bit. Super Mario. Maybe I do something like this and then do Bros smaller on this side. You guys have all seen this before. Yeah, that looks awesome. Wow. I don't think I want to do the box, but I do like the drop shadow. I think the drop shadow is necessary. That font is just so cool too. So basically I just copy and pasted another one of these, make it black underneath. Dang, wow, that looks really cool. I was not even trying. Oh, I wanted to put this Mario guy in. Is he gonna be this one or this one? This guy just has so much life to him. He looks like he wants to be on my poster. Let's put him in there. That's kind of fun. It's like he's punching through the shadow like he punches through the bricks. I don't know if that makes sense or not. We're gonna leave it for now. I think that's cool. The other thing I really like is this gray bar because it looks like the NES, which is like this sort of thing. Most of the video game consoles during this period ended up looking like gray boxes. I mean, even PlayStations today just look like gray boxes. But regardless, I really like this. I think we should try to create that and now add some sort of like texture. So I'm just gonna use the pen tool, stretch it across and bring it back and then put them behind. Okay, that's starting to look cool. We'll make it the same color. And then I think I like the black. So make this a stroke. Yeah, the really thin stroke is kind of fun. I think it needs a little bit more texture or something to it. I don't know. We'll come back. For now, it's looking pretty good. And then I don't know what I would put down here. It definitely needs some text or something. Arcade Classic Series, Nintendo Entertainment System. I just wanted to say something cooler than that. Just say something like a classic reimagined. I don't know, because we're remaking the poster, right? Maybe this is like the return of the NES Super Mario Bros. The classic reimagined. That looks terrible. That is not what would be on a poster. We'll come back to that too. I want to see if I can replicate some of this stuff down here. Let's try this lightning bolt. I'm just using the pen tool to kind of steal it. And it's like a white outline. Let's try getting this squiggle. This circle might be a little bit more difficult. Something like this. And then you go to 3D and materials. And this opens up a whole new world. Boom. We'll take the depth down a little bit. And then you can like mess with it and spin it around right here. It's a little tricky. Boom. So there you go, there's that one. Let's try making this square, I guess. Extrude, bring down the depth. Nice. And then, I don't know how we would do the colors. My trick is I always just screenshot stuff and then I image trace. And I know that's not the right thing to do, but it is what I do. Make that the blue, we'll make this our yellow. Nice, that's sick. Screenshot, drag it in, image trace, 3 colors, expand, ungroup, remove that gray layer, and then we'll make it yellow. Nice. So let's take our little abstract things and stick them in here. And we'll make them pretty small. I mean, this is looking pretty good so far, you gotta admit. I wonder if we took our white text and made it yellow too. Whoa. This white is more like today. This yellow is a little bit more retro. Kind of sick. I think we should go with the yellow. Next, I'm going to take our sprites and I'm just going to stick this stuff in here too. Again, patterns on top of patterns is the name of the game here. These little characters are so fun. Dang, wow. I mean, that looks really cool. That's like a super fun poster. I was trying to think of what else I would add to this, but I'm really liking it. I do want to test out to see if a gradient might work well. It needs a little something special, like that. This color, like a super subtle gradient, just to give it that like 3D-ish vibe that it's like a real console. And then maybe this is just a step darker. Yeah, I don't know if gradients were the thing back then. Like nothing here is screaming gradient to me, but we're gonna roll with it. This, slip this onto here, grab that, boom. And this is our final design. This is our sick poster of Super Mario Bros. Recreated in the classic 80s fashion. Everything we learned, just putting it together. It's that pixel art style, but we brought it back with all of the others 80s aesthetic. And I think we created something really unique and original. I think it came out cool. I think it's a really fun poster and I think it's pretty interesting. It was a lot of fun to make and it was really fun learning about all of the 80s aesthetics and designs and everything that went into that time period. That's so cheesy. If you like design videos like this one, go ahead and click the subscribe button right now. That'll let YouTube know that you like this and you want to see more of it. And I'll see you in the next one.